We in the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? You there, Bucks? You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute, salute.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to have that music playing on your joint. That's why I was gonna wait till you connected. But
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out on my phone. I'm good money, but on my other device, I'm trying to figure out why the joint where I could have when you do play the music, all I gotta do is just press pause. I mean mute it.
I don't know how that works. I didn't know you can mute it. I was just gonna wait till the music finished, then you could combine the pages. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I was saying from my angle, like if I go to my joint, like I should be able, what I'm saying, mute it, but I don't even see it happening. I
Oh,
know
I didn't.
I'm on my phone device now. It's good money, but the other joint, I don't
Yeah, I
know if
didn't
I
even know
probably.
you could do that. That's crazy. I didn't even know you could do that and shit. I
Yeah,
just, yeah, I
yeah.
just learned something new. Cuba, what's going on? So, anything before we letting the ladies up? Anything you want to say? Any kind of ground rules? Anything you want to?
Well, keep it clean. This is not a platform where the females coming up and bash on each other. The platform, is being used, so we can give the females a voice. I want the females to be very boisterous. You know what I mean, and let it be known how they feel or what they think. You know, um, about what's being going on these YouTube streets dealing with the men, and if they want to ship into, real life, they can also do that on how they feel a man should be moving on these streets. And we just, pretty much, I just want to hear from a female voice. You know what I mean? Like we hear from dudes all day long. Oh, you ain't doing this. Now let's hear how the females feel. Because obviously they ain't got a voice over here. So, today I hope it all works out to the fact of where as though their voice should get heard, and this is the opportunity and the time for them to pull up, and it ain't you got to complain, but express how you feel, what you see in the near future going on with this sector, what you think about how the men carry themselves on this sector, and the list goes on.
Okay, okay, no doubt, no doubt. So, anytime you're ready, I'll drop the link. Rich Martinez, Renegade Society, Asia in the building, Diamond Shooter. So, should I drop the link? We ready?
Yes, sir. Let's
All
get
right,
to it.
let's go. Red Jones in the building. Let's get to it.
All right, let's go. Let's
Yeah,
go.
man.
So, other than that, man, I like that last show you did, man. I ain't gonna lie, I learned a little something on that last joint that y'all was building. I think that was yesterday.
Which?
Oh,
On the serious page.
yes, sir. Yes,
Oh
sir.
yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Appreciate that.
It's crazy the
Man,
things
what's
that we
good,
don't
man?
know.
Man, listen, I'll be trying my best not to flip out, man. I'll be
Yo,
trying my best, man.
yeah, that's definitely and to piggyback off that a little bit. These are the things that they feel like, okay, we got to keep away from them because we don't want them to know this, and we
Right.
see it.
Right, man. Whoo. You know how they say ignorance is bliss? Harlem legend in the building. What's going on, my brother?
Harlem legend was Papino, my guys. How you, man? Hope all is well. I see you working. I see you working, baby.
Oh wait, hold on. We got a female in the building. I'm letting you up if you want to cam down. I'm about to let you up, or if you don't mind showing yourself. Okay. What's going on this time?
Good evening. Good evening, fellas.
Good evening. Good evening. Good
How you
evening.
doing?
I'm blessed. Oh, hold on. Shit. There we go.
Okay.
Look,
May you introduce yourself?
yes, yes, yes. I am Savvy Sister. I'm tuning in from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
okay. What's up, Miss Lady?
I had to stop by and get my one of my supporters, but he was down here with me when I first moved to Charlotte, and I told him I had a podcast jumping off. He seen me from radio, the podcast, and now he doing his thing. So I had to stop by and show my voice some love.
That's a fact, and I appreciate that. You already know. I appreciate that. That's a fact. You already know that.
that's
So
what's
you
up.
already know,
That's what's up.
what today's show is, and I'm sure she's on another side of YouTube, people. So just little dibble and dabble, just from a woman, I say, to a man, what kind of advice would you give? Because we talk about men. What kind of advice would you give a man, when they are dealing with this social media YouTube world? What type of advice would you give, and how you feel a man should handle themselves?
Ooh, let me take B. Um, accountability. Accountability is really big for me because you can't have a productive conversation, dialogue, understanding, reasoning without it. You know, a lot of dudes, they like to point the finger, but they don't want to point the finger back at themselves and say, you know what? I did handle that a little wrong, or maybe I was out of line when I said that, or yes, I did do that. Everything is always placed on it, a woman, like it's our fault. And it's crazy, but because down here in North Carolina, I have been running into some of the most retarded ass niggas ever known to me. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on there, but that's real life.
Oh yeah.
It's
Anything go.
it's crazy. Like they talk like you from up north. You know, I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. So our men, you know, up that way, they kind of a little more humble. Down here, it's like they act like we owe them something. They talk a lot and don't be saying nothing. And at my age, I'm just over it. I'm over it.
Right. I feel you.
I hear that.
I definitely feel you on that. So what what do you feel? I ain't gonna say it's a need, but I would say, what would you like to change when it comes down to, these men acting other than they self?
I think we need more stand up leadership when it comes to our men because I think that when I'm talking to my girls, what I say is I think they are reading from that same dumbass handbook. Like
Hmm.
they need someone to be able to go and talk to and open up and get some real logic. You know, not just another Negro just passing what he thinks, you know, what he think is right. No, get under some real leadership. Find some real men. I don't care what culture they come from, but get under some real leadership and learn what it is to be a man and to be responsible and to have accountability. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Right.
see leadership in our community. Not I mean, and for real, and the women too. But because I have to deal with men on a different level, it's like how can you look at somebody and see something more than just a F or something to do you can't get past, you know, a man understanding what his real role is. It's not to be a dictator. It's not to tell a woman to shut up, tell her what to do, put her to work, but it's for both of us to put that work in. You know what I mean? To have something. Come to
Right.
the table with something more than just your warm stick. Cause that shit is cheaper than bologna, baby.
Hmm. So let me ask you a question. Do you think chivalry is dead?
Hell yeah. Yeah, whenever you listen, you get on these dating apps, and the guy got this awesome profile. Oh, I like to do this, I do this, I do this. And then when the time comes, the first thing the joker go say is, "Can I come chill with you?" No, you say you like to go shoot pool. You like to watch the game. Why we can't get out and about? Why you always want to be laid up? You
Right.
know, like they don't they don't mean what they say. They just be hollering, and it's really annoying. Chivalry is dead. They don't believe in asking a woman out on a date, opening the door, uh, allowing her, the freedom to do the things that that he wants. For me, it's like, okay, if you ask me out on a date, for me, a date defines a thought out process. That means that
Right.
take me on a date. That means everything that we do, I was thought about. If I tell you, I would love to go to the restaurant, and the first opportunity that we get to hang out, then what would you be on? What would you do?
Are you asking a question?
Yeah. If I told y'all just and y'all said, well, what does a date look like for you? And I told you, well, you know what? I like to shoot pool. I ain't shot pool in a while, or I ain't shot
Mhm.
my gun in a minute. It would be nice to go to a shooting range. And the time presents itself for us to hang out. What are y'all gonna do with that?
Well, I'm a do. I think that's why I would ask you that for, so I would know what you would like to do, before I take you out. So I would plan the date around the things that you tell me you like to do.
Bingo. Bingo. But these jokers talk about, can I what you doing? I'm like, nothing, I'm just watching football, just chilling. Well, can I come and chill with you? I mean, you don't even invite me to your crib. You won't come lay up on my like. For me, that reads nothing but sex all in that. Why you want to come? Why you want
Right,
to chill? We live in the state D where it's everybody want to be in Charlotte, right? Charlotte is the place to be. It's a lot of stuff to do here. Why you want to come and just sit around and then at my house at that?
right. I say, back in the day, if you take a woman out, you stop at the front door, so even before you get into a woman's house, you're supposed to, do all that, take her out and all that. And if she feels like she want to invite you in at the end of the night, that's up to her. But if she don't,
Yeah. If you and also, I was raised that you don't pull up to my house and blow your horn. No, you get out
right,
yourself as a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? And have something in hand. I don't care if it's a box of candy, a flower, a card that you drew yourself, something to let her know that she was thought about in more ways than just one. Because
right,
that's a complete turnoff. If I pull up on you and I say, D, I want to take you out. I'm coming with all of that. You know,
right,
I'm letting
Right.
you know that you were special enough for me to spend some time with, and hopefully, my thing is for us to be able to do it again. That date is gonna be centered around whatever it is we probably previously talked about you ain't done or you want to do. Just to let you know that I was listening when you was talking.
Right.
We don't got that.
So let me ask. So do we blame it? Do we play the blame game as men? I'm speaking from a man's point of view. Do we do we play the blame game on the before? Meaning, like when I was coming up, we was kind of like on a break of no gentlemen's allowed, pretty much, because before me, that was considered to be a gentleman. You open the car door, you walk them to their house, like Tro said, you're not going in the house, you're not meeting no kids, you stopping at the doorstep, and after that is good night. Let's set another a date. We're not having that now. So do we blame it on us, being as though we come before these youngins now? That's yo, what you doing? You ain't doing. All right, I'm gonna come over. Only thing on their mind is to smash. So do we play that on on the men that came before these young men now? That's pretty much moving like that, as well as the older men moving like these young men.
I'm gonna honestly say that it's a 50. I'm not gonna blame it all on the men because you all couldn't do it unless we allowed it to be done.
Mm, real
I
talk.
say that women make it too easy for these men. If all of us got together, all women got together, and said, "Listen, this is what we expect, this is what we're not settling for." If we all collectively came together and changed our mindset, then it would do nothing but force jobs. But when you got multiple women who will allow you to come to her home after you done met her out in the club, you done bought her a couple drinks, now she take you home, she neglects the kids, she feeds you they food, she wash your clothes, she suck your dick, she do everything. Why would you want to be bothered with a woman like me that's gonna make you work for that?
All right, that's true.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Y'all not gonna be bothered with me. I'll see that motherfucker too much work.
Well, well, me personally, like a woman like that will be, a what, you got women who you want to make your wife, and you got women who you just trying to smash. You know what I'm saying? So depending on how the woman carry herself, that's how you could tell. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, me personally, I can't speak for everybody else.
That makes sense because my uncle said that most men can look at a woman and know in his mind what she means to him at that moment.
Right,
So he always encouraged his nieces to come out of class, polish, hold your head, have something to talk about, me stand for something. Because if you don't, men will use you for whatever they see you worthy at. And
right,
I think for my generation, we are like we done stepped our game up. Like we not our moms and them. We're a little bit better at that point, but some men are intimidated by a woman who has a brain in her head, who could talk about something more than the average, such as sex. I'm multi-dimensional. I could talk to you about sports. I could talk to you about politics. I could talk to you about raising children. I could talk to you about being a 53-year-old working on a bachelor's degree, going into the criminal justice system as a police officer. I can hit you in so many different ways. You know what I mean? But
right.
some men don't want all that. They just want what they see in front of them. But then this is the thing that gets me. Now, I'll be real honest with y'all. I tell a Negro in a minute, I'm not a nonprofit. I'm not. Now if you being honest as a man, you say, Savvy, you know what? You seem like you a cool chick, but right now I'm just looking to smash. I respect that.
Right.
But when I tell you to hit this man, respect that.
Real talk. I respect that. Kitty, what's going on, Kitty?
Gra gra boom, Chinese kitty in the room. Peace and blessings to
Shooter,
everyone that's up
salute.
here. Peace and blessings to you, Queen, for dropping the jewels that you're dropping. Nice to meet you, Miss Savvy.
Likewise.
What up, King Troll? What up, Bucks?
What's good,
What's
shooter?
You
going
know, I was
on?
staying in the bushes because she was doing her thing, but it is the ladies' takeover. It wouldn't be right if, the ladies don't come over and represent. We got a lady from a whole different sector coming through here. Represent. Where's the rest of the ladies? Like, we always got
Real
something to
talk.
say. Today, the men is giving a panel where it's not disrespectful and we can speak.
Hey, hi.
Where you ladies at? But yes, keep going. I'm not interrupting the show. Y'all got a dialogue going on here.
Hey,
And I
feeling
Hey,
me?
agree with everything you
speak
said.
your
And she
mind.
said
Speak your
nothing
mind,
wrong.
shooter.
And you
Speak your
absolutely
mind.
right. Brothers will not want to be bothered with the women that make them work for it. Because a lot of these women up here is making it too easy. Not up here, but just women in general. They make a lot of women are making it too easy. So why buy the cow if they can get the milk for free?
talk about.
basically. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's like, men got their own agenda. They're looking for a woman to stay up and lay up with. And other women got their own agenda too. And I agree with that. You're stopping at the door. Buck said what I said. I'm not with that. See, my children's father there in their lives. There's no way I'm gonna have 10 different men coming in and out of my fucking daughter's face. No, you don't need to meet my kid. Where's this going for you to meet my kid? I don't do that. I don't do none of that. You can't meet my kid.
Mm-mm.
So now
And take
you being a woman on this sector, shooter. Now dealing with the men here, what do you got to say about the path that is going and the way it's looking dealing with these men on this sector?
well, oh God, here you go. You're gonna get me in trouble. But okay. Well, what it is, like the men in this sector don't have respect for them. That's number one.
Is it me or is you going in and out, Dami?
I think she going in and out.
Okay, okay.
Violate a
Yeah,
woman,
Dami, I
however
think
you
you
violated
going in.
them. You can't. You can hear me?
Now we can.
I can hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where I cut out at.
Just go
You
back
hear
to
me?
her. Yep. The
Yeah,
mic.
we hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But with a lot of stuff that's been going on, is like a lot of it is like
Is that her going in and out still?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Dami, you might have to drop down and come back up.
Come on now, females. Don't be scared now. Pull up, talk your talk.
Kiara, salute. Dog Skin Beauty in the building. Bobby Johnson, I seen you. Rose Gold, salute.
Yeah, shoot it, stuck.
Yeah, she might have to drop back down and come back up. Yeah,
So
man.
Savage,
So, but I said, oh my bad.
get it, Tro.
No, no, I was about to say I'll say this as far as me as a man is like if a woman makes me work for it, I'm gonna feel like then that's what she does with all men. You know what I'm saying? If she make it easy, then I'm gonna feel like that's what she does with all men, and that's gonna tell me how I'm gonna move with her.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right because that's the way I
I'm
was with.
sorry, guys. My signal was messed up.
You good?
That's all
All right,
good. We hear you.
we can hear you now.
Yeah, yeah. But what I was saying was, it's like it's the disrespect. Some of this, a lot of men and a lot of women have disrespected each other to beyond social media. They push the maybes for whatever reason. They push the maybes or whatever the case may be. And I'm not gonna put it on one side. It's both sides. Women and women have disrespected each other on this app to like the beyond limits. Beyond limits. Some of the stuff I've seen up here, I know for a fact wouldn't be happening in real life at all. Some of the stuff that's been said, some of the actions, I know for a fact it'd be repercussion, real life repercussion with the things that's done up here. Depends on what kind of walk of life other people been through or what you've seen in wherever you've been through. Everybody could act like they was born with a silver spoon in their mouth up here, but we know what it is. Some of us, a lot of us was in the hood, living good, but you was in the hood till your parents decided, listen, I make too much money for this for me to be hearing it and got up out of there. But you was in the hood. A lot of us came from good homes and parents was taking care of us. I came from a two-parent home. I went to private school. I didn't have to fucking know nothing about what was going on in the hood. I wanted to know in order to survive.
Hmm.
It's different strokes for different folks, but it's just like Like, I don't know. I don't know, Bucks. It's like people up here, they pushing for the wow factor. And the wow factor is as much as you go and keep violating and disrespecting each other, nobody's going nowhere. We still here looking at each other. We still up here in each other's face.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what do you say? And what do you say as far as the part the man play? How would you react to that? You know,
Okay, as a man, I feel like because real men up here don't argue with other women. I've seen lots of men up here go through certain things, or maybe was taken the wrong way or said the wrong way to each other, but they don't follow back and go back and forth and get catty with women. Real men don't get catty with women. It's either he's gonna slap the shit out of you, shut the fuck up, or that's it.
Period.
and what do you say? And what do you say?
He's not gonna sit there and go back and forth with you like a girl.
Right. Macbeth, Jessica, salute. Yo, Bucks, I think your
A
mic is
man
probably
don't
kind
have
of
that
low.
attention span like a woman to do that nah boo boo kitty with us. I hit you, you hit me first. I hit you, you hit me first. Only time they do that is when they in school and they like a girl. Yeah, I tapped her. Shorty like me. She on my like a grown man. No, we not playing that. And a lot of niggas up here compromise their integrities for free on YouTube. You're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. You body the female, you disrespected a female on YouTube that you don't know. That says a lot about you, about your real life. That says in your real life, you don't have real respect.
Right. Me personally, I think, I think sometimes we get it twisted. Like people feel like if you walk away from a woman, that make you a sucker, like she's a man. You feel what I'm saying? Like me personally, before I put my hands on a woman, I'd rather walk away. She's not a man. You feel what I'm saying? And it's not gonna make
Right,
me feel no less than a man by doing that.
Absolutely not, because you know what? Women don't.
right. You know you're going to win the battle anyway. You're stronger. You overpower that woman. Our power is our mouth.
And a lot of men can't handle.
A battle between a man and a woman, he has strength. Our power is our tongue. Our tongue can cut a man down.
Fuck his life up.
Where opposed, you can slap me with one strike.
I like.
You said something, ma'am. I don't want to cut anybody in that's trying to get their dialogue in.
I was just ad libbing off of what you were saying. You right. For one, I have a son, and I raised him that it's never, ever, ever okay to put your hands on a woman unless she's hard enough to make you cry.
That's right. I have one too, ma'am.
I am not. I come from abuse relationships. I watched my mother be abused, auntie. But when I had a son, I said, how do I go about this? Because I know both sides. I know a man being overly aggressive, and then I know instances where women think and they can whoop a man. And I'm a firm believer that everybody has the right to protect themselves against a child, another human being, animal. It don't matter. If you violate,
Right.
that person has the right to defend themselves. So with my son, his father is very abusive. He came from abusive family. So I said, I hope my son don't have that in him. But I had to have a conversation when he was in junior high. I'm like, look, if you ask a chick to back up off of you and she does not, I said, if she hits you hard enough to make you cry or think about crying, break that motherfucker's nose. Because a lot of times we like,
Street queen.
I'm just telling the truth because I know women who think that they are men and they can whoop them. That ain't happening. And you should never, and I never want to feel like I could whoop a man. I want to feel like I can compromise, reason, conversate with him. But to whoop him, if I whoop a man, I don't got no respect for him.
Right.
Period. But then I talk to my daughters and have to have a conversation with them like, don't put yourself in the situation where a man has to defend himself because you don't know how to control yourself.
Absolutely.
Because again, I believe everybody has the right to defend themselves. Do you hit first? Absolutely not. But do you protect? Absolutely. You do. So, no, I don't feel it's a 50-50 for me. You keep your dick beaters to yourself and I keep mine to mine. If you can't handle the words that's coming out of my mouth, get up and move on.
Real talk. 1609 in the building, street queen. My mother, I don't hit females, or I try my best. Like if I'll even run. You know what I'm saying? But if you can catch me and jump, if you can catch me, I might have to restrain you or something like that. But my mother told me when I was young, if a female kick you in the nuts, punch her in the titties.
Honestly, I'm gonna say this, right? Because I have a daughter and I have a son. What I told my son is, you don't put your hand ever on women. There's no time you put your hands on women. But I am a woman, and I know we can be very pushing and pushing and pushing, and I know. And the thing I don't do, I don't slap my kids. So I told my son, if ever a woman put their hand on your face, punch her in her stomach and walk away. Only reason I said that because I know we're gonna buckle and leave you alone. Punch her in the stomach and walk away. Don't put your hand on a woman. If you gotta hit her back, punch her in the stomach, but don't ever put your hand on a woman. There's no right. You have no right to put your hand, and
Right.
she has no right to put her hand on you. But I don't respect putting that. Slapping me is like spit in my face. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I was raised from a different home. My parents never slapped me, and they told me what that means. That's the most disrespect.
That's
My
right.
father never put his hands on me. My mother was really the regulator.
So
Right.
what happens? What happens when you get the verbal abuse from a man?
See, I can't.
I
I've
can
never been abused, but I have friends and I've been around it. And I know abuse come in all forms, verbally, physically, mentally, and emotionally. You understand what I'm saying? So being verbally abused, a lot of people don't know is worse than actually being physically abused.
preach this.
You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people think just because you're punching on somebody and they got these scars and they wearing these scars that that's the most you can do. No, emotionally and verbally abusing someone is the worst thing you could do to them.
Yep.
Right.
And a lot of people up here verbally abuse people. We
And then,
all have parts in verbally abusing people. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know what kind of mental state they in. What is their mental? What is their psyche? We don't know. A lot of them come up here and project on us.
Right.
You
yep.
understand? And we take that and we reciprocate. And we don't even know if that person is using us to just lash out to get something off.
And that's the type of trauma we end up taking into next relationship. So when y'all get with these girls and they, emotionally out of whack, remember, started from somewhere. See, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Men need to have a community that they have somebody that they can look up to and get good advice from. Because a lot of times, we are healthy women when we start off. We don't become damaged until we become damaged. And depending on the type of community that woman has around her, she may have a community that can help her through it and help her understand what it is that she's going through, or maybe not. You know what I mean? So if in the instance that she does not, then when she gets with you guys, she's bringing all of that baggage that she dealt with these knuckleheads. So again, we need more in our community that stand up to each other and hold each other accountable for our actions. Because if you ever plan on being married or settled down, you want to preserve woman. You want a healthy minded woman to make decisions for your future. You can't do that when you got a woman that's been beat down and she damaged. She not gonna function right. You be a leader with help her work that, and vice versa. But the men have to become vulnerable enough to allow those sisters that they trust in to help them through that, because it works the same way on both sides. If you come to me damaged because you done been with a chick that did you all kind of wrong, and now you with me and you feel like like that, you're not giving me the chance.
Right.
Now I gotta fight through and untangle and not all the stuff. But if I understand what you're going through and you know what I'm saying to you is real, then allow me to come in and help untangle you a little bit. But it works both ways. And I totally agree with sis that that emotional damage is the worst because you heal from bruises. Some women can take a man calling them a bitch and it means nothing. To me, I'm ready to fight now. Please don't call me that. I got a problem.
Yeah.
That word broad, that'll get you cussed out for real. Cause I don't even know what the fuck that shit is. But I know my uncles was pimps and I'm about real life pimps. And that's all they referred to the women was bras. So I know it's not a healthy, you know, name. So like it's I think that we all have to understand that in order to be a part of something positive and healthy, we must be that ourselves.
Right. I
And
don't
you
know what a broad is myself. You're right. I never thought of that. Pamela Macbeth, what's going on? James P in the building. 1609. I never thought of that. I gotta look that up. What does broad mean?
talk about it.
Yeah.
Word that is ruffle my feathers
Peace
real.
and blessings, ladies. This is an open panel. It is a ladies' takeover. It's a no beef zone. Please come up and share your thoughts. If we could come up here and get at each other and call each other all kind of inhumane names to impress men up here, they're telling us to come up here and voice your voice. You could come up here and talk, ladies, but it's a no beef zone free. That's what they said the rules was. Jimmy, can I say it? So don't say I'm the one making rules up, please. It's an
No,
open panel to
Right.
the
Yeah.
ladies. It's the ladies
Open
takeover.
panels.
This lady's from a whole nother sector.
but you know,
Never met her. She came up here first lady, first one to hit the panel. Ladies, can y'all please come up here and represent? Y'all represent for
Gangster.
everything else in this sector.
but you know
Real
what?
talk.
This can also be just a space where people come so they can learn. You know what I mean? Because they may be in these types of situations and they don't know how to function. So maybe they're not ready to engage quite yet, but they want to sit back and see what they can take. Because I'm a firm believer that I take emotion out of things and I just deal with the facts. So this might just be a learning situation for some people to just see what they can use. You know what I mean?
But the sad part, sad on this in this sector here, like this sector, I think we got it backwards. In this sector here, you know what I mean? It's like if you're not beefing, screaming, going back and forth with each other, you're not doing nothing. In this sector, if you get, 100 views, we think we going viral. You know what I mean? This sector is like a man-driven sector. So it's like it starts from the men. This is why I wanted the ladies to come up here and to kind of, dig into that more. And why isn't it, the men being as though that is a man-driven sector? Why are we not moving over and letting some of these females really take the wheel and get us to we really need to get to?
Peace and blessings, sister.
Salute to
Hey,
y'all.
Diamond. Hi, PT. Hey, Bucks. Hello
Hey.
to you, Queen. I don't know your name. Please tell me your name so I can address you properly, Mama.
That's
Savvy,
Miss Savvy.
Miss.
savvy.
Oh, okay. It's nice to meet you, Queen. Good to meet you. Can y'all just give me clarity on what the topic is so I know what I'm giving feedback on?
Well, one of the first questions that was asked to me, well, one of the questions was, do I believe chivalry is dead? Another one is, what is it that we take? What are we getting from these men? Um, that's pretty much what's been the basis of the conversation. Just what do we see from men? What do we see the problem is in relationships? Do we believe that chivalry is dead? Do men know of this day what chivalry is? How do you talk to a woman? How should you step to a woman? What should a woman expect from a man? Step two.
Next
Okay.
best
It
food.
also started as what we think about the men in the sector, how we think about the sector, and it's how the sector is moving. But it's going every which way with basically the
Okay.
same topic, TT. Or
Okay.
basically KT and Bucks is the one who's the engine. So let them tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah, because I just
All
want to
right.
know what. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bucks is really going. This was his idea and all that, so I'll let him do that. But let me say this, sir, if I keep dropping you from backstage. If you keep coming up here, I'm going to block you from the panel. Okay, go ahead, Bucks. My bad.
Yeah, well, and my back on that. Let me introduce. That's my people's savvy sister, known her for over 10 years. You know, what I mean, very dope relationship. She popped up to show some support. To give her thoughts. What I mean, on what what I would like to see is females giving a shot, letting them lead the way, to a sense, at least for the night. Let their voice be heard without them coming up here, boom, boom, babbing and da 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 this. You know what I mean? So, just to give the females an opportunity, to speak, to be in a woman role and let it be known how men are acting on this sector and as we've been speaking, even in real life. And and just want the females' point of view, and especially the females that's in this sector, on whether y'all feel the sector is going, being though it's a man-driven sector. You know, is it in good hands when it's dealing with being a all man-driven sector?
Okay. So, far as the sector is concerned, and again, I'm gonna try to my best to say what I'm gonna say as respectful as possible. But I do feel a majority of how men are in this sector is that they want women to be subservient. They don't want us to really express how we
Amen.
feel or allow us to really tap into our feminine nature because they expect us to co-sign the things they do. I feel a huge part of that is because a lot of these men were misguided by their fathers or their fathers were non-existent. So they didn't teach them the fundamentals of communicating with the female. And some of these men didn't have good relationships with their mothers. So therefore, that being the first example of who they looked to in the household, when they got older, they transmuted that into how they deal with women both on and on social media. I don't think that women's opinions are really valued, nor do they want us to be intelligent. They want us to be complacent. However, what I will say is that it does take two to tango. So, what the overall theme of this sector is, if we allow certain things to happen, the behaviors will continue. Now, the unfortunate thing is that a lot of the women can't get it together for whatever reason. And I honestly wish that was different to where people could, really collaborate and speak and hold each other up and fix each other's crowns. But that's not what this sector is really built on. It's built on conflict and confusion, as well as people trying to find their way or their group or their clique to belong to. Now, far as in real life, is chivalry dead? I don't think so, because I think there are some men that do understand the importance of valuing a woman and pouring into a woman and letting her be who she is without having to feel like she's on guard. But I think the one thing that men lose sight of is that no matter how boisterous or loud or quote unquote ghetto a woman is, every woman wants to feel safe. And unfortunately, in this particular space, a lot of women do not feel safe. So, how do we move forward past that? I think it's going to take either a complete reintroduction to how this sector is ran, or people going to create spaces where they're allowed to express themselves and to do what they need to do to even pour more value into themselves. Now, when I came first into this sector, which again, I've not been around for all the years that this sector has been present. So I'm still kind of, I'm not going to say a newbie, but my information is still fresh. But for what I have observed, I mean, there are some comical, happy moments. I have seen panels where men and women can coexist and be who they are. But then we do also have those instances where disrespect is applauded, and that's what gets the most views. So that's my thoughts. If I hear anything else from the rest of the women on the panel, maybe I can expound a little bit more.
You killed it.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
all right, all right.
Amen. Macbeth, how you doing, Macbeth? What's going on?
I'm great. How's everybody?
All right, salute to
Live and
Macbeth.
free.
Titi, salute to you, Titi. I didn't say salute. Salute to you, Titi. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's all good. Salute to you.
Um, well, um, as far as what goes on in the sector, it, um, a lot of this stuff has been going on. Me personally, I, I think that a lot of these women, um, we need to realize that in men that we are responsible. And I've been saying this since I've been up. We are responsible for who's in our personal space. And a lot of time, and I'm going by what they was talking about earlier, that's what I pulled up. A lot of times, if we are in a combative relationship, whether it's domestic, any kind of combative situation, a lot of times we don't take time to ourselves. We get out one relationship and then jump right into another relationship, but you have baggage from the previous relationship, whether it ended good or bad. You still have baggage. So if you don't take time to yourself to know what you want, what you're not going to tolerate, what you like, then you're going to continuously repeat the same cycle. You're going to continuously get into combative situations. It's up to you whether you want to continue to go back and forth with this individual, or because all battles ain't worth fighting.
Absolutely.
See, a lot of this stuff is ridiculous. It's the same thing that been going on for 5 years or more. Okay, it's the men has been against the women has been against the men. I'm with TT. I think a lot of these men up here want the women to be submissive to them, like they feel they can say or disrespect a female, but then when she come back at him, but her words gonna be a lot harsher because she's 9 times out of 10 she's going to hit below the belt, and now she's not a lady. But you are the aggressor, the male that started it. So if she's not a lady now, then what were you when you came at her?
Hey, let's talk about it.
You see, you can't always say it's the female because she defending herself. You don't even know how much stuff I ignored up here. But if I'd have came up here defending myself, I'd have been unladylike. But the man who came at the female in the first place, isn't he ladylike? If she's unladylike, then that would make him ladylike.
I like that. Ouch.
Because
Talk to him, Aunt Mac, talk to him.
he's the one that came at the woman first. You're the one that became disrespectful. You're the one that antagonized this woman until finally she started speaking up. But you don't like the way that she's talking to you because now it's coming back disrespectful to you. So now all of a sudden, she's not a lady. She's not acting like a lady. She thinks she a man. But if you look at it from the other perspective, and you are the aggressor, right? Then that means you're acting like a woman. You're acting like the lady. If she thinks she's acting like a man because she's defending herself.
I like it.
And that's what happens up here. The men want to say whatever they want to say out their mouth, and then as soon as the female come back and she got him, and now his ego has been damaged. Now she's not a woman. So make that make sense.
It don't.
That's deep. Wait, my bad. Miss Dangster, I appreciate the cash apps, Miss Dangster. Salute.
And I ain't talking about nobody in particular. I'm talking overall. I'm talking about actions. That's what I'm speaking on. I don't want nobody to think I'm pointing no fingers or I need to name names. You know how they get. No, I'm talking about actions between a male and a female that's in a combative situation where the male is the initiator of the beef.
Okay, see, I don't know the ages of my people in the center right now. I'm 50. I went through that trial where the women wasn't in at one point. They wanted the high eyes, long hair, right? Then finally started getting women started. Then men didn't want the heavy set thick women. They wanted the slim bodies, right? So it's like they don't understand exactly how what we deal with emotionally and physically when it comes to them. A woman, especially if you've been a woman who has been raising children by themselves, she's naturally been bred, if she's strong like myself, to have to deal with the world. You know, I had to learn at a very early age how to talk to people. I had to learn how to stand up for me first. Then when I had kids, I had to learn how to stand up for my kids. But then I also had to learn to listen. And when you encounter somebody that take you back to that uneasy spot where you feel like now you got to defend yourself as a woman, y'all guys got to remember just as much as the world put upon y'all to have to deal with, we as women do too. Right? We want a safe place where we can act like a lady, we can talk like a lady. But a lot of us have been in dominant roles for so long that it's just natural. It's been plenty of relationships that I've been in that I felt like I was the man and a woman. I'm like, I'm ready to just be a lady. I want to sit back and chill. But I just think that we have to be mindful that we are all humans. We all have feelings. We all have things that we want to say and get a point. And I'm a communication major. It's about actively listening. And there's a totally different from listening. Is you listening to just respond, or are you listening to absorb and learn? It's different. It's active listening, and then there's just listening. And most people don't even listen at all because when they respond, it makes no sense. So I think that we all collectively have to just learn how to respect each other's space. And from
Yes, ma'am. Because some people listen to respond.
a lot of times, and that's where the confusion comes in. Because how many times, ladies, have y'all had a conversation with a guy and y'all both are saying the same thing? Y'all just might be saying it a little different, but he done got aggressive with it, and you be like, "Well, hold on, that's what I was saying, though, bro. Like, where we going with this?" So if you was really listening to understand, then maybe we can avoid some of the disrespect. And I honestly believe that our men, y'all are put here to protect us, not harm us, not to disrespect us, not tear us down any more than what we have to go through in life, period. Just like I understand that you men, y'all got the weight of the world on y'all shoulder. If it ain't one goddamn thing coming at y'all, it's the next. And I couldn't imagine being in y'all shoes, having to deal with that from child support, baby mamas, imprisonment, low education, low self-esteem. And that's where a lot of that come from. Y'all be having here in insecurities. And so when they feel like somebody done kind of open that door, they fly off. That's where having a strong mentor would come in play for y'all to be able to go and talk to and get some resolve and understanding. But it's enough. I see these Palestinians, they protect their women. You don't see them getting on social media or in the streets beating them down, talking crazy about them. Hell, they won't even let our black men come nowhere near them. Chick all
Right.
You can't, and y'all from New York, y'all know it better than I do. They had their women all wrapped up. You can't see if what she really working with look like for real. And y'all dare go to step to her, y'all know that's gonna be a problem. We want
Right.
to feel that same way about us. Defend us.
But will y'all oh my bad. Will y'all be willing to be wrapped up like that? Aaron, what's going on? Any Sir Valentino?
It's too hot for that. Like that, it's down. But like it's time for the black community to come together because we got all these these different races looking at us, and they see the disrespect in our community. They see how y'all disrespect. So guess what? And that's where my toughness have to come in, because I deal with these people. When I moved to Charlotte, my first employee was a Palestinian. They so nasty. Then I work for Africans. They just as nasty. I come from Akron, Ohio. It's black or white. I moved here, I had to be subjected to a whole nother platform of people. And I look at it like, dang, maybe if our men had more respect for us and treated us better, then we wouldn't have to run into these problems, because they know that if I go and tell my bro Buzz or Bug this motherfucker done came crazy, they're gonna get seen.
Right.
But when they see that y'all target us just as much as everybody else, then that's why we get disrespected. And we develop this hard shell, because we have to defend ourselves just as much as y'all do.
So with that being said, so as far as the men, lashing at the woman, because what I'm seeing is kind of like some roles are being reversed. I'm seeing a lot of these men play the female role, meaning as far as catching attitudes, being emotionally damaged, not able to communicate. When things don't go their way, they want to storm off and they want to do the unthinkable. So what is it that can kind of like separate and kind of put the men back in a man place?
Can I start with that? Can I start, please?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Because here's what I've told numerous people. I feel like a lot of that behavior, especially when it comes to men who have taken on a quote unquote feminine role, it's inherited behavior. It's been passed down from one generation to the next. And when that behavior continues and no one has done anything to assist in changing that trajectory, it becomes normal. So when you're finally, in your own relationships and dealing with your own women, you don't really know how to step into a masculine role, because again, from even before we were thought of, it's always been a thing, especially when it comes to Black men, when they're being forced to basically take a step back and allow anything to go down. Now, when it comes down to where we are today, everybody has free will and options. If at some point you choose to step out of that feminine role and to assert yourself in a masculine role, the problem that also happens is that they confuse masculinity and authority with being controlling. And with that comes the
Speak.
miseducation between men and women. You can easily, as a man, lead me, but you should not demand me to do anything. Because naturally, if you are standing in your divine masculine right as a woman, I'm going to follow suit anyway. So where the expectation between men and women is where, okay, the man wants to be respected as the head and the woman wants to be respected as the nurturer, the caregiver, so on and so forth. How is it fair when a woman is doing that but still has to facilitate your role as a man, because in some instances they refuse to step up to the plate because they become at ease with taking the step back? Then it becomes from being controlling to being downright abusive. So whereas you want her to upkeep the home, take care of the kids and all that, but then in that same respect, it's like you want to call shots, but she's making everything happen. That's not fair.
Talk about it.
So if we're going to establish what's fair and allowing man to be man and woman to be woman, we have to redirect the whole trajectory of how we've conducted ourselves prior to figure out where we are now, because a lot of men don't know how to lead, but they know how to implement narcissistic behaviors to control. So breaking free from that quote unquote curse is a chain that still has yet to be broken. And to piggyback on what the Queen said earlier in regards to like Black people coming together, I'm going to be frankly honest. As much as I would love to see that day come, because that's a lot of what our forefathers and foremothers fought for, there's a really big reason as to why right now that's not going to happen. And the main thing that it boils down to is image and ego and id. The mental has already formulated an idea that what people do is correct, even if they feel within themselves it's wrong. And then we have people encouraging that behavior and not saying, hey, you kind of stepping out of pocket right now.
Yep.
That behavior is not being checked. So that just continues from one generation, then another generation, that continues down the rabbit hole to where we have these future young men who think it's okay to be feminine, but still think they're masculine in their demands. So that's my thought.
Amen. Miss Hazel, salute.
When she
Amen.
made me think of so many different things, like with my son. I told him before you go to bed at night, you should be the last one to get in your bed. Your job is to make sure that everybody is tucked in sound, your house is locked up, your windows is tight. You know what I mean? Like that's your job. Like his father has a problem with thinking that he the yelling. He likes to yell a lot. So I see my son picking up those habits. I'm like, hey, that is not how you get respect for one. Because after a while, nobody's listening to that damn hollering for one. Two, a man is respected by his work. If you show me that you are somebody that can lead me, I'm coming. Just like Queen said earlier. If you show me that you know what you're doing, I'll let you manage this bank book. I'll let you, tell me to step back. I'll allow you to be that decision maker. As long as you're making good decisions and I can be comfortable with them, I'll allow you to do it. But a lot of men don't know how to lead. They like to dictate, like Queen said earlier. Like, but you can't have that because I've been a woman have not had to concur with anyone about any decision over the last 30-something years of my life. So in order for me to meet a man today and he want to step in like he running shit, you got to show me why I'm about to let you take this role. Because can't nobody just lead me. And I think that's a lot of problems too. They think we know too much. That's because women had to educate themselves. They had to come out of our foremothers' shadows and not just be homemakers. We had to get out in the street and make it happen just like y'all. We had to go to school and upgrade our mental and our mind thinking because when you become a parent, you're not only now responsible for your life, but you're responsible for other lives too. So the way that you think and the knowledge that you have is important. Because if not, then what the Queen say? They don't have nobody that they can go to and that will put them in their place. I said it earlier. Our men need somebody that they can look up to and get sound advice from. And y'all got to stop letting these men think that it's okay for them to act the way they act. Somebody got to have balls and say, man, that wasn't cool. We need to figure out how we can redirect that because that wasn't good. And then that man has to be under the nose. You know what? He might be on to something. You know what I mean? It's like you have to allow yourself to be led, and then you have to be a leader too. And I don't see that in our community. I don't like what's the Kevin, the dude that died that had the platform where he got on internet.
Kevin Samuel.
And if he was talking the right shit for real, he would have been perfect. But
Right.
I really couldn't get with him because to me personally, it was just like a lot of downgrading he was doing towards women. You know what I mean? But if we had somebody that had a voice that was leading both sides, not just one, because there's a lot of women that don't know how to stay in their place neither. But then you have to look at, well, has she ever had to be? Because if you out here in the trenches, just like if I'm climbing trees, installing electrical, and the thunder and the lightning, you know what I'm saying? I'm not at home. I'm out here in the street. If I gotta sell dope or whatever, I'm feeling like I'm just like y'all. But it has to come a time where everybody has to know their position and know your position. We need somebody that's been there and done that before to lead us, to show us, and then we have to take those practices and actually put them into work.
So to piggyback off what Titi said, so how far off is man on to becoming that gentleman again?
In this day and age, well, let me pause. Because the thing is, I have to go on an individual basis because if I judge it as a collective, it's kind of unfair. So as a collective, I feel that if we were going to measure this in percentage, let's say maybe it's a good 60-40 ratio. But individually, I do feel that there are men that are very much proving and showing example that they have the ability to do the positive things to uphold themselves as men and to build a woman up. But honestly, as a collective, it needs a lot of work. And I think it starts with the programming, because a lot of what happens, and I'm just going to use, and this isn't just in this sector, this happens. I'm going to give an example. If a man gets up on a panel, or if his channel is catered to or delivering content that praises women and lets women be they self and all that, the man's called a simp. But it's like, why is he a simp for acknowledging what a woman is and what she embodies? But then y'all feel that y'all are masculine for calling women all kind of bitches, hoes, sluts, tramps, and everything under the sun. Like, what is actually manly about that? Like, what exactly makes you a man because you can sit up here and disrespect the woman and that you can call her every name but a child of God? But the man that's respectful and still honors his masculinity is a simp. That's where we got to kind of break the monotony, because how is a man just simply being respectful wrong in people's eyes? And it goes back to the mentality, what's accepted, what's tolerated, what's programmed. So once we change the programming, that's when you can break the mold. But until then, we're going to be back at square one every single time.
Aggie.
So true, so true. So now that we speak on that part, let me just slide a little grease. So now when you have this man, now this is kind of gonna be spoken upon as in, let's say, friendship, relationship, even maybe father-daughter. And you have this situation where it is a man that's pretty much checking all the boxes, his path, his journey is going down a way where you can say, okay, I'm a follow, I'm a lead. What will put that man in a position to where as though that woman will reward him with that as just being said, okay, I'm gonna follow, instead of praises? Because I like me personally, I'm a man, I don't like praises. Like, I'm again and gonna make it happen, I'm gonna do what I do. Only thing that I would like for you to do, if you feel though it's right, you go follow. If it's not, bring it to my attention, maybe I can switch it up. Now, we're in today's age, right? A lot of the men, they're not really like bringing that to the table. So now when you get a man that pretty much, and this backs off what Titi said as well, that is some men that still exist that still have that gentleman trait in them. So we gonna talk from that standpoint. Man got his own, he's doing what he need to do. Now, when does it the female acknowledge that and she does what a female's supposed to do? And that's, not to say follow and a disrespect, demeanor, but to follow, let the man be the man.
But that question has been answered several times. If the man is doing exactly what the man does to make that woman happy and feel appreciated and feel protected, she's going to automatically, it's going to be an automatic thing. She's going to automatically take care of his needs. And I ain't talking just sexual. I'm talking overall. That's why I said his needs. Sex is a pleasure. So she's going to automatically do that. She's going to fall back. She's going to let him be the man that he's going to be. She's going to encourage him. She's going to salute him. She's going to help him. So you're saying praise. You don't get praise for doing something you're supposed to do as a man. You can get your recognition, and she will fall back. We will fall back. If the man is manning, then we're gonna let y'all man. We're gonna let y'all be the man. And if like TT said, if you're making good decisions for the family, and every decision that you came up with, it benefited the family, we're going to follow you. Mm-hmm. We're going to do that.
Trooper,
and we don't have wait, and we don't have to call our friends and tell our friends about it. You're gonna know it's getting done. Because you know why? You're not gonna have to want for shit. Not a meal, not no clean clothes, nothing. Everything will be taken care of.
Well, I say this, like Tiara said, is a 60-40 thing. Not all women think like that. You know what I'm saying?
We talking on, he says, because he switched it up now. he switched it up on the man that's actually doing that. So I'm letting him know. Well, that's true too. You know what, Keisha? You right.
Right. That's
60,
why that's
60,
why I
40,
had said that,
because you
Mac,
yeah,
because
60, 40, because you got those women that don't appreciate
right.
nothing, just like you got men that don't appreciate good women.
Right.
So you're right, you're right. Yeah.
Right, and that's where I was leading up to that, just to sometimes to say to agree on, what Diti was saying as far as you still have men that's out here that's playing a gentleman role. So now, I asked that to lead to this. Is that the reason why you have some of these men out here acting other than they self, meaning a king, acting other than they self, meaning a peasant, acting other than they self, meaning they willing to flop to anything that's gonna flop to them. You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes that could
I,
be a self-esteem issue.
Yep.
yeah.
But I'm not a man, so I can't really answer like what a man would do because I'm not a man, so I can't think like a man.
Nah, but you
But
can't. It ain't about you thinking like the man, but it's also you knowing the capabilities that a female have. Like me, I'm brought up. You know what I mean? A female is secondary, but a female is most necessary. You understand? So now, when you're dealing with a man who 9 times out of 10 he may have knowledge of himself. You understand? And knowing that you know what, that a female is secondary but most necessary, meaning that I need a woman just as well as a man need a woman just as well as a woman need a man. So you got some of these men that walk around and feel like they're not how would I say it? They're not appreciated. Like if you do the statistics, to me, in my eyes, you have more stepfathers than natural fathers raising these kids. And I think that's where that comes from. Some of these men get discouraged. Now they run around thinking, "Oh, I ain't gonna never get a female that could this." Like, can that come from a woman with the verbal abuse as well as the mental abuse?
Blinky, salute. I'll say this. I'll say this. I think, on both sides, it's 60-40 on both sides. And it's like, it's a crapshoot, it's a blessing for a stand-up man to meet a stand-up woman. But sometimes a good man meet a bad woman and it ruined him, or a good woman meet a bad man and it ruined them for the next person. You know what I'm saying? So, all praises to the Most High that, that a stand-up man or a good man meet a good woman, and from there, you could take over the world. You feel what I'm saying?
right. This is why I said in situations like that, a lot of times we don't take time to ourselves. We'll jump right into another relationship, but we didn't have time to heal from the last relationship. So we
Right.
bring that baggage, and that's why all of a sudden all men are dogs, or right. So my thing is this: if all men are dogs, then you need to ask yourself, why are you a dog catcher?
Ah,
I
You
am done.
gotta look
Not the dog
within you.
catcher.
No, I'm just using that. You gotta look within you to
yep.
find out what is it about you, the individual, where you keep attracting these kind of individuals.
Yep.
Well, I say
Because
this
you are the
respectfully: a
common denominator.
female dog attracted a dog.
Not a, no, no.
Sometimes they're too
I
cute
just use
and
that
end up with
because a lot of
fleas.
women say all men are dogs. So that's why I use
No,
that.
no, I know, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, you know what they call a female dog. You may attract a dog. You know what I'm saying? So some women be like, I'm a bad bee.
Yeah, that's
I'm.
right.
They have a mentality of. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. So guess what? You just answered the question for the woman that carry herself like that. That is why she keep attracting those type of men.
Right.
Right.
And for me, at this age, back in the day, I used to do all the talking, all the goddamn talking. the process back and be quiet because a person everything allow them. So if I'm sitting, I'm listening, this dude don't have a clue about life, credit scores. He don't have a 5-year plan. He don't have a good relationship with his kids or his baby mother. Those are red flags for me.
Mm.
If we sit back and just listen more than we talk, a person will tell on themselves. And then that's when you, as the individual, get to decide, do you want to carry this further, even to even lead into all the other stuff we're talking about? What are we talking about? You know what I mean? What, and when you're talking, what are you saying? So because we tell everything, whether we know it or not. If I'm looking for a guy that at least got a job, come with a car in his own spot, that's a start for me. I can deal with that. But if I'm dealing with a 8-year-old motherfucker don't have nothing, God is telling me right there, hey, what you doing?
That's true.
We keep doing the stuff that's right there in front of us. If you know, I'm petty. Like, I am a very petty person. Like, I believe in cleanliness. I believe in respect. I believe in saying thank you and please. I believe in a man talking to me with respect. If I don't get that, like, don't call me dude. I'm a whole motherfucking woman. I got receipts. You know what I mean? I'm not a bad bitch because I don't play them games neither. Me and my friends don't sit around calling each other bitch. No. I got a whole bunch of names that you can use, but that ain't one. And it's all about in our time too. If you talking to somebody and they in your mindset here and they all the way to the left, then that's that red flag right there to put them in that category. He might just be good for a friend or somebody to just a friend. You shouldn't be looking no further than that. But the thing I find too is that a lot of times women think they can change a man. No.
Right.
Hey, Michelle said that man's too grown to be raised. He is who he is. And if he does change, it's going to be because he wants to change. Because no matter how much work we put in, if he doesn't receive that information, it goes nowhere. So we have to start having real conversations and actually having real conversations and listening. Because those flags be there immediately. If this dude can't say nothing but nigga out of his mouth every other word, or cusses, or don't know the simple definition of something simple, he already letting you know. Now, if you on that level, then that's what's up with you. But if you somebody who has a higher level of thinking and your goal, and you have goals and you represent more than just yourself, you may have children, because this is not somebody that you would want around your son. I never would have my son around his father, because as a man today, he does not represent what I want my son to represent to his kids in the future. And now,
amen.
But I was young, I was real young, my teens, so I ain't know all that I know now. But now I do. I make it harder for a guy, a dude, because I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. Now I'm listening more. If you ain't never been nowhere but to Akron, Ohio, you ain't never ventured out, you ain't never traveled, you may not be the cat for me. I may have just put you in a different box. Not to say that you're a bad person or none of that, but at this point in my life, I know what I want and I'm not gonna settle. And sometimes we women, we settle a lot. And then when things like this come up, then we blaming each other. No, I have to blame myself. Because it's called that audition period, where when you meet somebody, you're supposed to be talking, not fucking.
Right.
Sex is overrated at my age. Sex is overrated. Okay, because after y'all finish having sex, can y'all hold an intelligent conversation with each other?
Hell no.
Sure can.
Be ready to roll over and go to sleep.
No, no. I mean, after y'all, like, in general, after sex, right? After y'all done had the sex, because the sex was good and amazing to both parties. So after sex, What do y'all have in common after sex?
Oh, wait.
Sweet.
I surprised after sex. I want to be dead.
No, because after sex, you in the house together. You got to get a. How do y'all function without having sex? If y'all don't have sex for that day, will you be able to hold an intelligent conversation with this person? That's the type of things you need to start asking yourselves,
Yeah.
ourselves, us.
Period. For real. Like if it's
Period.
tonight, you
Right.
don't pick up stuff. That's a clear sign.
I
Like
think
That's how people
intelligent.
get. That's how people get stuck with baby mothers they don't like.
Yep. Because there's no
Right.
conversation. If you go to if you come to my house and you leave my toilet seat up, I got a problem with you. Because I know man live here. I'm a woman. Put my toilet seat back down. If you spending out at my house and you don't pick up.
Did you say spend a night? Oh, that's a whole
Okay.
different
Wait,
conversation.
hold on. Yo, Bucks, you got a crook salute. If you want to read that, Bucks.
I can't even read it. Crooks, yo, Crooks, salute, my guy. Appreciate that. Hold on. If you can read that for me, Troll. I can't read that joint. I ain't gonna I ain't gonna get myself a headache.
Kenzo, salute.
Yeah, if you can read that for me, Troll.
Oh, I got you. A woman can birth a man, but she cannot make a man. Only God can. Amen. Faith, unity, strength.
Hey, Crook, appreciate that, Dom. Hey, Crook, you're right about that. You know what I mean? So now, I
Okay,
guess.
so I got a question for that.
Yep.
So so that means that anybody that now that just answered a whole lot of questions. So that means that anybody that's a male and was raised by his single mother, then that means he's not a man.
Nah, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand from that
That's
aspect of it.
self-explanatory. If a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man, right? That's what everybody's saying. I'm just going by the saying. So
Right.
logically speaking, then that would mean that any male that was raised by a single mother, then he's not a man.
Well, me personally, I was raised by my mother, and when I became a man, it's certain things she couldn't really teach me. I had to find like father figures, or I had to kind of learn stuff for myself. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay, I just needed clarity. That's all.
I'm just speaking for myself. I can't speak for everybody else.
Because I think it boils down to where, will you be a man by gender? You absolutely will. But will you be a man in behaviors? That's left to be determined. Because your anatomy is naturally going to say that you're a man, of course, if you have that part. But
Right.
will you actually be a man in your actions and your mentality and how you conduct yourself? That is where, now, if we're going to go there, because that's going to lead to a whole other rabbit hole. Because now it's like, okay, being the fact that, especially, in our community, we do know there's a lot of young men that grow up without fathers. But yet we have men that have the capacity, even on social media, to implement lessons to help them become better men. But we're not utilizing the spaces for that. So so now my question goes to, if a young man is growing up, right, and he does not have a male figure in the household, but yet we have all these men in our communities and on social media who can help shape these young men, who do we blame if that young man turns out a certain way? Can I ask y'all that?
Say that one more time.
You got it. Well, go ahead, T.
Nah, I think the streets. I think it would be left
TG.
up to the streets to be raising that young man.
And that's why they all going to jail.
Yep.
Yeah, that wasn't a good thing. When you if you play sports, if you get a job, it's certain things that you learn how to become a man by doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what Crook was saying. Like, a woman can give birth to a male, but like a man, like a gender man, but she can't make him a man. You feel what I'm
No,
saying?
I got
So
what Kurt was saying.
no,
I
I
just.
think I was talking like to Tiara,
Oh, okay.
because she said the same thing that Crook was trying to say. But at the end of the day, like when it comes to me with my mother, it's certain things I couldn't talk about to her about
Right.
man stuff.
I know.
You feel what I'm saying? So
I
I
got
had
you.
to learn some of that stuff on my own from just life experience.
Right. I got you. See, I got
But so,
sons. So
yeah,
I know it's certain things they just wouldn't talk to me about.
right.
They
But
wasn't
it's
comfortable.
as far as what Tiara said, who do you blame? Some people is your character. Like, you can't blame nobody but that person. It's some people, don't got a good character. It don't matter what type of situations that you in, how you are within as a person is going to reflect, your actions. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, but and I'm a firm believer, in that as well as, and I'm not even going to go as far as saying that a woman can't teach a man how to be a man, because a woman do have some attributes where they can lead that man to the right space, where therefore he could take the baton and learn the rest on his own. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just I think it's like the universal law. This is embedded. It's embedded within us. Because I'm sure, and I don't know how that went or how it worked, but it was somewhere written already. That terminology, as they would say, a deadbeat dad. You know what I mean? A man walk around and act like a child. That
Right.
I think it's already in some of these men DNA. I don't think they just learn how to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Right.
think you just learn how to be that. You know what I mean?
And
So
sometimes a deadbeat dad and a non-man teach you how to be and teach you what not to be. Some people who don't have a father and stuff like that, they become a better father for their children. Or sometimes if your father left your mother and you get to a certain age, now you want to take care, you become the man of the house, you want to take care of your mother. You know what I'm saying?
right, and what we got to say about this though? This is the main one too. When because I just had this conversation, it's like, what do you say to the men that can raise somebody else's kids as their own, but they can't even raise their own kids?
I'm going
Uh,
on mute.
Where the ladies at?
I don't think you say anything to them because in the day they are doing exactly what they were designed to do. You see, and this is a conversation I've had before. See, here's what happens, right? These men are comfortable with being stepdaddies because at the end of the day, push comes to shove, they don't have no entitlement to it. So they don't have to be fathers and no, no, with their children, they should be fathers, but they want the convenience of being able to jump in and out when it's at their convenience. So they don't want to be permanent daddies who do the job. They want to be here today, gone tomorrow. Like they basically want to go in the crib, live with the woman, give them a couple of dollars here and there if they're doing that, but it's the convenience of having the ease of not having to be demanded or having to take care of those children. He has the ability to come and go as he pleases. So yeah, I personally don't say anything to them because in the day they're doing. Sometimes it's best that they're not in their real children's life because they're not going to show them responsibility and dedication anyway. It's unfortunate, but they don't even know how to show positive examples. But then we have to look at the women that accept that. Because if you're okay with the fact that a man is not taking care of his natural born children and you're allowing him to lay up with you and assist, and just because, he makes it a little bit easier for you to take care of yours, we got to question your moral compass as well. So I don't.
What happened?
I don't know. I think Tiara lost connection. Oh, there she go.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know what happened. I think StreamYard knocked me off. But yeah, we have to look at both the man and the woman in that situation because, yeah, she shouldn't be okay with that, and he shouldn't be okay doing it. But I'll go back on mute now.
Right.
I
And
will
where's the fault?
never,
Well, I'm gonna mind my business.
I will never, ever be a friend or in a relationship with no man, friend or whatever, if he don't take care of what he created in life.
Right.
Because if he can't take care of his own kids, he don't care about nothing. That's
Only facts. That's true. That's true.
And with that, I'm gonna go on mute.
Yeah, that's some complicated stuff, man. You gotta, it's very complicated. But if we talking about a particular type of man that chooses not to take care of their kids, that's not a good thing.
But that goes on every day, and I was just sitting back today, and I was saying, does that make that man a bad dad? You know what I mean? You can't father your children, but you can father someone else's. So that clearly says you have the attributes to be a dad or be a father. Why you don't have them same attributes when it comes down to your own kids?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's like, so do you call him a deadbeat? He don't take care of his kids, but he take great care of somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he still considered to be a deadbeat dad?
He is
Of
definitely a
course.
deadbeat dad because if she was to take him to court, the judge ain't gonna care that he's taking care of them other kids. They only gonna care that he needs to be taking care of his.
Right.
So yes, that he would definitely be a deadbeat dad. Yes, he would. Anybody that know they got kids and refuses to take care of them on any level is a deadbeat dad, in my opinion.
Right. I don't understand that.
Yo, it happens every day, Tro. I ain't gonna lie. You
No,
have
no,
to understand that.
I understand that it happens every day. It's people out there like that, but sometimes it's situations where you try to take care of your kid. I'm saying if you choose like, nah, I'm not trying to take care of my kids, that's that's different. But every situation is different. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's difficult. When it comes to the mother probably don't want you to try to be around your kids or stuff like that, or they just want money or stuff like that. But I think me personally, I think I'll try everything I could to my last dying breath to try to have a relationship with my children. You know
Okay, so look at it this way. You can ride for your homies. You can get on YouTube and fight other people's battles. You can even go to jail for your homeboy.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't fight for your child.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I
Make
definitely agree.
sense.
Hold on, I got another one for Crook. Crook says, I teach my daughters to lean on God. I teach my sons to follow in the ways of God. A man without faith and endurance, at least some to the ways of the Lord. It's no man at all.
Facts.
Amen.
Facts.
Yo, Crook could take you to church, boy. Hey, yo, Crook, I appreciate that, man. Salute. Yo.
That's why I like talking to Crook.
So now with that being said, so what trait did that man, or should I say, in what part of the DNA did he get that from? You know what I mean? Because I know some men who do that and they had great pops. They just grow up, to be a piece of ish. They don't want to take care of their responsibilities. But yet, they was raised by mother and father in the same household. You know what I mean? So what part of the DNA did that man, did he take growing up as a man to decide to say, I don't want to take care of my kids, but it's okay to take care of somebody else's kids?
Wait, hold on, y'all. Latoya, salute.
Hi, you guys. How are y'all?
How you doing?
Salute.
Welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
That's my friend Latoya. She down here in Charlotte with me. I told her She must come on and listen because here her and I both was having these same conversations yesterday.
Oh, y'all in Charlotte?
Yeah,
Yes.
it
Okay,
is.
okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Salute,
Yeah,
Latoya.
I'll be in
Appreciate the
Charlotte.
pull up.
Thank you.
So you have anything to add to the conversation?
I just joined in, so let me listen for a little bit, and then I can join in.
Okay. All right.
We got Titi on the panel. Titi, if you would like, for the the stuff you've been soaking in, if you would like, or Mac, Mac, if you would like, the I guess we would say put Miss Latoya on the game.
Well, right now, the last question that was asked was if a man chooses to not uphold his responsibilities as a father, but he grew up in a two-parent household where mother and father were present and they showed a positive example of what a mother and a father is supposed to do, but he chooses to be opposite. What part of the DNA is that? And me personally, I don't think it boils down to DNA. I think it boils down to mentality because DNA is just the traits that you uphold, which is part of it, but it's all about mentality. So I feel like because it doesn't like some people always think that a dude that's like that and that grew up without a father. It's like, nah, I've seen plenty, just like I've seen plenty of guys be in the street that grew up in two-parent household where both the parents were working, they didn't want for nothing. So I don't think it boils down to DNA. I think it boils down to mentality and whether or not they want to uphold responsibility. Sometimes they feel entitled and other people going to handle their responsibilities for them. And it's like, no, that's not the case. So I don't think it's DNA really. I think it's all about what they formulated in their mind and whether they just want to be responsible men or they just straight up lazy. And unfortunately, we have some lazy father figures, or we have father figures that think because they give a certain amount of money that makes them father. They know they make you a provider. It doesn't make you a father. So I don't think it's DNA at all, Buck, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I agree.
I
I agree
agree.
as well. I think it's just like our man Tro was saying earlier. It becomes at that point the making of the man. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this is who he is. You understand what I'm saying? I don't really. I'm not a firm believer. You have to teach these things. You know what I'm saying? And not to compare us to animals, but when you look at animals, they kind of pick a lot of stuff up through ways and actions. You know what I mean? You don't see no another, a bird, talking to another bird. Yo, this is how you fly. This is how you catch the worm. No, that child watches, learns, and then as they grow up, they mimic the same activity. And just now dealing with humans, you know, um, it's just, I guess we don't, we don't carry that same trait no more, and we decided, to create our own path, which is so true. Because nowadays, I'm a firm believer, man. You could raise your kids up, you know, to the best way that you feel that you can, and they're gonna choose their own direction no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you said, Bucks. The streets raise, the streets raise you, the streets raise me, but is a is a code and it's a more, it's morals, values, and principles, and the old school way of the streets. But some people are raised in the streets to be grimy and backstabbing and stuff like that. So like is a different understanding that people have. When I say I'm a real nigga, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm some type of criminal, some type of you know grimy ass nigga. I'm talking about I'm a stand up individual when it comes to the streets. So it's different mentalities that people have depending on who you came up under. You feel what I'm saying? Pause.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Sometimes I just sit back, man, and just I ask my question like, where where did the man? Because I'm a firm believer, man. It's not a man's world. You know what I mean? This is a female's world. We just living in it, and I just be wondering, you know, um, where did the man wander off at? At what part of lifetime did the man just wander off and just I be be thinking about that because I hear a lot of stories. A lot of I ain't gonna call them stories, but they say, oh, a man is made for the wild. A woman domesticated man, and and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, well, we had to stray off somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because those same tools that we use, 20, 40, 50 decades ago, I feel we're not using them same tools today.
No, we not because we don't have that leadership. Big Mama, Big Papa, they all gone. So whatever was left after them, if they didn't carry on that same behavior, then it falls off. Like, and even and going back just a little bit, I think that you can raise a
Right.
child supposed what you see, what you deem as being uh, a human being, but it's all about that individual. You know what I mean? I can take my kid to church, Sunday school, revival, but when he get older and get his own, gain his own independence, he's gonna do what he wants to do, and it's no reflection on how he was raised. It's his individuality. He just chooses not to go to church anymore. You can raise your child to say his prayer before he go to bed or bless his food before he eat, but once he gets out of your up under your thumb, and either he get led by those who are around him now or just his own individual self. Like, so I hate when people always say, oh, it's the parents, what kind of home do you come from? That ain't all the time true, because you can do the best you can at raising your kid to be a decent citizen and a person, but again, that individual person eventually comes out, and if
Right.
to go to the street rather than work like he's seeing his mom and pops do, that has no reflection on the parent. That's all about what he chose to do once he became an adult, or he thought he was an adult, and he chooses to do. Or
Right.
people that he is now. If he's not around people who bless their food and go to church and go to work, then he's going to become what he hangs around. You know. And as far as the father, like what Sis said earlier, I don't care how much money you got. If you're not putting that time in to help raise that kid, you are just a provider. You're not really an asset.
Right. Right. See, I think me personally, like man, like old school, old school men, like that's that's what I was. I don't. It don't matter if you're in the streets, if you got a job, you always carried yourself with dignity, respect. You respected women. No women, no children. It was codes that we put forth, and I think it got lost somewhere along the way. A lot of the real men, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where they at. I don't know what happened to them. But as I said, we had a code, we had chivalry, we had all of that. Didn't mean it doesn't matter if you was a gangster. Now a pimp is something different. I think a lot of these men is trying to be like a pimp or something like that. You feel what I'm saying? But as far as gangsters and stuff like that, they had respect. They carried themselves a certain type of way. You ain't even know this man was a gangster. He dressed in a suit. He dressed with a tie. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know what he was doing to make his money because he carried himself in a certain type of way. And I think that got lost along the way somewhere. You feel what I'm saying? I think people think it's soft or you're a sucker for carrying yourself like a gentleman, like a man. You feel what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you my opinion where I think it got lost. When that crime came in effect back in the 90s, when that law came up that we no longer could whoop our kids, I
Right.
think it changed then. And this was in my kids were in junior high at the time. When the government took the right away from us to discipline our children the way we felt like they need to be disciplined, all hell went loose. When we were able to whoop our kids, go to the school. I remember my mom used to come to. That's the one thing you didn't want is your mama to come to the goddamn.
Right.
Because the whole problem. What my teachers stepped back. They ain't say shit. They let my mom do whatever she felt like she needed to do to get me back in line. Now,
Right.
when my kids was in school, oh, now you go to the school, they calling the police on you. They call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so once the kids see that and once they know now that they can call 911 on you, it switched the whole game up. And I'm not just talking about in the house, I'm talking about in the street as well. Because when I grew up under the dope ages where the dope boys in the streets had a code,
Right.
tricks that they had that I said to myself, They will never ever, if the police came in my mom's house and searched, they would never ever find this shit. Now, ain't no moral, no code, no nothing. I stopped riding the bus because the kids got to acting all out of crazy cussing. That was not allowed in my day. You will be like, it, and again, I just take it back to the '90s when they took our rights as parents away from raising our kids the way they should have been raised. All broke loose.
I hear you, Blinky, and that's true, Miss Savvy. I hear you, Blinky, but I don't know how old you are. I don't know how old you are and which street you was raised in. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of people say the streets is a myth. Yeah, the streets is a myth. It's not about the streets. The streets is just concrete. Is about the people. Is about your the people who surround you, your circle, and all that. It's the streets is just concrete. The streets is a myth. You know what I'm saying? But we carried ourselves with dignity and respect, and we had respect. That's why they didn't call the police on us. They protected us because we gave back to the neighborhood. We protected the neighborhood from other outside people coming in and all that. But when it became a trend to look like a gangster, to look like a drug dealer, to look like this, to look like that, then I think that's what messed it up. People wanted, and certain people they're not even in the streets, but they want to look like they from the streets or they about that life and all of that. And when they get caught up, then they telling, they doing all of this type of stuff because you're not built like that. Back in the days, if you wasn't built like that, you need to stay away from that. You feel what I'm saying? But now everybody want to do it because it's popular.
Yeah. Do y'all think music have an influence on this too?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. And people blame hip hop. I want to say it's not hip hop. You have gangster rap, you have drill music, you have trap music. Hip hop it started off as something positive, a voice for us in the hood and all that. So when they say hip hop is the problem, it's not hip hop made a lot of you people rich and famous. You feel what I'm saying? But it's certain behaviors and genres of hip hop, like rap, gang, and not all rap. You have conscious rap. Like people seem to forget. Like people like to take the minority of things, the small part of things, and make it the majority and stereotype that. So even when they talk about black people, we gangsters, we don't have no fathers and all. That's not the majority. You feel what I'm saying? That's just the minority. Bucks Crook is backstage. I know this is on your ladies thing, so I don't know if you want to let him up here.
Yeah, let Crook up.
Bucks, ladies, y'all gotta have to, y'all have to vote. It's up to y'all.
Yeah, I mean, if the ladies, would like to happen, Crook is one that, that speaks with intelligence. So, I wouldn't mind. We at there like the 8 o'clock. We at the 2 hour mark anyway. So, we probably give another little 15 minutes, and I would love to have a rebuttal. You know what I mean? If we can get, some grown men that want to pull up and, they want to, rebuttal, off a lot of the things the female said tonight. We're more than welcome, man. But it's just all about, what I mean, the panel etiquette, you know what I mean, and just put the bull crap aside for 2 hours, and be gentlemen. You know what I mean? Hey, yo, Crook, salute.
Crook, salute.
Salute, KT. Salute, Bucks.
What's going
Good
on?
evening, ladies.
Evening.
I just came to say my little two piece, and do my little two step, and I'm out of here. I like to say that as a man, um, without God, we can't do it,
All praises.
and without strong women by our side, we can't do it. So I would just like to say, I believe we are people of faith. We are people of spirit. We are people of love. And in that, we can conquer all. Keep the faith and fight the good fight. That's it.
Appreciate you, my brother. All
That's a
praises
fact.
to the
Salute,
Most High.
salute that, Crook.
I'll say that.
Beautiful.
I tell you this: a woman never changed me, but a woman's faith in the Most High is strengthened, or the Most High changed me. At the end of the day, you feel what I'm saying?
What you mean by that, Joe?
Because if you find a godly woman, a woman of faith, it can help you find, stronger faith in the Most High, and that can change, you to be a better man. You feel what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of morals, values, and principles in having faith and things of that nature. Like me, I didn't have a strong. I thought I was God. You feel what I'm saying? But sometimes you got to bow down to something that's greater than yourself. You feel what I'm saying?
That's a fact. That's a whole fact.
Yeah.
That's a whole fact. But it's all about mental nourishment. It's all about growth. It's still, that, these two words, is heavy in my vocabulary, the unity and equality. And when you look at each one of them words, you look at the last three letters, it always is gonna say, I teach you. You look at the last three letters in the word equality, I teach you. And when you bring it back and spell it backwards, it's going to be you teach I. You can't go wrong with those two words, equality and unity. You can't go wrong. And if you stand on law, that's why I got that terminology from. And when you stand on law, you deal with things that you need to deal with, not the things that you want to get praised for. You're never gonna make it nowhere. That's speaking from a man's point of view. You know what I mean? Now, speaking from a man's view, that's raising a child, raising a daughter. You know, that's where the confusion comes from. For me, because as we see, as me being a grown man now, you know, the law of the days is not the same law of the days when my grandfather was coming up. So now I'm seeing, this cycle is changing. So it's scary for me to say, wow, my daughter's gonna grow up. And the law of man nowadays, it's not gonna be the same law of a man when she hit her 30s and her 40s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I really be, serious about, the fact of, a man being a man. I call it mano a mano, man. You know what I mean? And you can't you can't subtract from that. You understand? So, it's all about, we standing on law, doing the things that you can do, that you have control over. You understand me? Like, don't try to overdo a situation that the most high didn't put you in. If I'm a firm believer, the most high put on your plate what he know that you can digest.
And that's true. That's why I don't got no daughters, no sisters.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? And
I go crazy.
speaking of that, troll, sometimes I'm not gonna say me, because I know I feel I have done this with my daughter. You understand? I cheat her out of life somewhat because I'm so caught up, you know, hoping that she won't become something that I grew up around. I mean,
Right.
it's not a knock on nothing, but it's just the truth. You understand what I'm saying? And when you a man like myself, I've been in the streets, so I've seen it all. So it's like, man, I don't want my daughter like that. Man, I want my daughter to have this type of man. So it's everything what I want. You know what I'm saying? And not taking
Right.
consideration into, the type of woman or the opportunity I'm giving my daughter to become the type of woman that she will be comfortable with being. You know what I mean? So I know I be jerking her out of her time sometime, you know what I mean? And it'd be like, is this the only thing that I know? You know? So, I know I have some things that I need to work on just as that goes. You know what I'm saying? Like and I say that to say it's gonna change. No matter how hard, I fight and how hard that I try to show my daughter the now, you know what I mean? Just look at it, 20, 30 years, man.
So,
It-
so let
It's,
me
it's
ask
gonna be
you a
hard.
question. Like you as a father and you as a man, like we men, we know men.
Right.
So what I'm saying, you have a daughter. Like how how did you not get like a chastity belt, like lock her in the tower and stuff like that, man? How do you do that? Like,
Tro, I've been there, man. Daughter come home, uh, daddy, that's my friend. I'm looking around. It's a boy. Hold on, I got your friend. Like, what are you talking about? We're not starting that early. See, but that goes back
right,
to me. Like I was saying, me jerking my daughter. That them little 2 or 3 minutes of that conversation, I jerked her. You dig what I mean? Because
right,
now I'm automatically going to what I want. You know what I mean? I don't want you talking to no boy. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be your friend. And I take
right,
it back to my lower days. That's when I was young, I'm going over. That's my little girlfriend. So I'm
right.
trying to like, and and it's not gonna be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't put my daughter in that. You know what I mean? I got to give my daughter the opportunity. You know what I mean? To get the know-how from her view, to get the know-how. As she becoming a woman and she's growing to become the best thing that she's gonna know how to become. Not what daddy want her to be. You know what I mean? That's what I don't want. You know what I mean? I want my daughter
You just
to
gotta.
make her
So
own
basically,
decisions.
you just gotta have trust in her judgment and hope
Yes,
you raise her. Okay, I
yes.
get it.
That's a fact, yo. That's a whole fact, man. And you know what, Tro? It's even harder when you come from that other side of the fence, man.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Because it's always open with that. Oh, well, you ain't do all of that. That's my worst fear. You know what I mean? That's why I have a problem with my boys. I think, I run from hearing that. I never want that. Well, you ain't grow up like that. You was doing this. And I'm preaching to them something else. Don't do what I did. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And they be like, yo, so, I think just as a man, period, we got to know how to, and I'm gonna say me, I got to know how to, like you said, have faith in their judgment and then deal with whatever comes behind it. I guess when that time comes. You know what I mean? But I have to start having faith. You know what I mean, in the judgment. You know what I mean?
Because
Of my
I
daughter.
got six brothers, no sisters, and my oldest brother got 9 daughters.
Wowzers! You know what
Yeah,
they say,
man.
right?
Y'all
You
been
know what
growing.
they say. Why that happened?
Yeah, I know. I seen him in action.
Is it I don't know. I see a lot of that. What? Like, is there any kind of truth to that, or is just really a myth?
From what I can say, with my oldest brother, listen, his first one, he was 15. So yeah, and he's a ladies' man. You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I don't know if it's true for everybody else, but
So so
yeah.
let me ask that. So is that would that be considered a punishment, or just I told you so from the Most High?
I would have to ask him, but I tell you, when he was in his 30s, he had gray hair.
Yo, you see my joint, man. My joint is great, man. I ain't even hiding it, man. You know what I'm saying? My one, yo, hey yo, Tro, my one, man. You know, um, this why, this is my change, just pretty much. I don't want to throw no excuses at my little one, man. I don't want to say I couldn't make that graduation because I was locked up. This is just for
Yeah,
me. This is what helped mold me, into this man that I'm trying to become. I use the word trying because I'm not done yet. And it's
nah,
things like that.
it's always never done. Yeah, it's always a work in
Right,
progress, man. But
right.
I
That's a
tell you
fact.
this, like I ever since I was 9 years, 8 years old when he had his first daughter, I became mean uncle so he could be, a nice father. You feel what I'm
Good
saying? So
cop back. Good cop
yeah,
bad cop.
I'm mean uncle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good cop, bad cop.
Right.
You Buck, you was just saying how your daughter came to you and said, "Oh, he my friend," right?
Yeah.
I think if that situation ever presents itself again, that would be the perfect opportunity for you to say, "Oh, is he?" So then that must mean that I can talk to him, get at him, see what's
Mm,
going on, talk to him, see what's going on. That way you can have a better conversation with your daughter because at that point, if you see that the young man ain't being steered right, now you know what kind of conversation with your daughter.
mm. Mm,
Yeah. I know. I know. Hey Sav, you seen me around my baby. You already know how I am when
that
it
was
comes to
game.
that little crazy.
She, know what I mean? Because we said earlier how I don't feel like our black man has anyone to look up to go talk to. Now you have to become that person for your daughter and anybody that she's around. Just like with my parents, I couldn't just go to someone's house without my mom talking to their parents, knowing about their kids, because they wasn't getting ready to just allow me to be around anybody. Now
Right.
these kids today, they have their own mindset, but at still, if it comes to your doorstep, then you have to take that opportunity to say, young man, what you doing in school? Get on this level and just find out where you at. That way, when you had that conversation with your daughter, you could tell her, he might be cool, but this is what dad sees for you. This is what you should want for yourself, and why. Give her receipts. Why? Give her examples so that when you're out with them, she'll start looking and you know what I mean? Because our young men if they don't have a role model at home and they mama not bringing around no decent dudes, then whatever they picking up from wherever they picking it up at, they bringing it to you
Right.
indirectly. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna be the one that have to pick up the pieces and redirect, then let me get at it real early. Let me find out who you hanging with. Let me see where they mind at. See if I can, see if I'm comfortable with you being around somebody that thinks and act like this. Because at the end of the day, like we said before, when you hang around a certain type, either you that way before you got with them, or you become that way once you start hanging with them. And as our job as parents, we have to keep them from destructing, because we're the ones who got to put that puzzle back together if something goes wrong. So why not try to stop it? And then you might make a difference in that young man's life as well.
That's game. That is dope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point I'm just afraid of the outcome, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't wanna push my daughter to the, you know what I mean? I don't want to be too crazy on her where, she get rebellion, then be like, I'm a, man, that's my fear. Me not doing too much of that. You know what I mean? I gotta let them, make mistakes. You know what I mean? I gotta give her, you know, the space to know and understand who she is. You know what I'm saying? And not what daddy want her to be. You know what I mean? Like you ask me, I want my daughter to play basketball. That's where the money on that.
I'm
I'm
done.
nice.
Not basketball.
Yo, my daughter used to hate me, my nigga. Like I used to take my daughter up to the school up there just because I want to shoot hoops. I got my daughter shooting until, it's like, are you really liking it because that's what I want you to do, or are you liking it because and she got of age, to tell me, like, yo, dad, I'm not jacking basketball. Like, I don't want to be, like those girls. And she thinks, that you have to be, on the other side of the fence, become a female basketball. But anyway,
Nah, I'm done.
yeah, you know what I mean? So I had to let that go, man. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm like, yo, that's a fact. Like, I was,
Out.
But you
yeah.
still need to know
It's
whatever company she's keeping. You still need to know about those people.
yeah,
Oh,
you got
hey, yo, hey,
It's a different.
on Met back, I be
Listen,
on their top
wait.
like a dirty do-rag. I be,
Listen. It's different from being overbearing, okay, and just in general. Okay, this is your friend. Okay, get to know him, because if something happened, you need to know certain things.
Right.
right.
So
I
you
think I'm
need to
too
know
overbearing.
nobody is, because they're going to make mistakes. You have to let them make mistakes. So,
mistake
but that don't mean that she around, or your son, it don't matter.
period.
They're around people that you don't know nothing about.
Period.
Just because you see you make you're confusing, you trying to dictate their life from just knowing the company that they keep.
Period.
Right.
Okay.
Two separate entities.
Okay, so I'm doing the right thing pretty much then.
Yeah, you
Oh,
just you
I'm
need
not.
to know who
I be
company
feeling
they're
like
gonna
that,
make.
man. You know what I mean? And that's my fear. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. When
But
you
that's
know,
your fear because you know what you was when with somebody else's daughter. See, that's what that is. Let's
okay,
keep
Beck.
That's
it a
Okay,
yeah,
thousand.
Beck, you got it.
Keep
yeah.
it
That's the
a
one
thousand.
right there.
Keep it a thousand. The way whatever it was that you was with somebody else's daughter, okay? You don't want that for your daughter.
Right.
That's
And
how that's life. That's how it is. Keep
yeah,
it 100.
since you
Just
are
say that.
right,
Man, I was man.
you get to see
You
what
heard me.
your daughter's mindset is.
Yeah, you
Right.
heard what King Joe said. His brother got 9, and he seen him in action. And he's a ladies' man. He got 9. You feel what I'm saying? So
He
he
also
know
said he
what
already
he
got gray hair too.
yeah, because he know what he was doing, and you know what you was doing
Yeah.
to somebody
Yeah, he got
else's
neutered. He
daughter.
got neutered.
Now,
But also have the opportunity
and now it's your daughter. You
that is.
see? But when it was somebody else's daughter, it was okay. But since it's your daughter now, it's not okay.
And that's why you need to start having conversations so that you can see what her mindset, what her mentality is. Because I'm gonna tell you, being in law enforcement, a lot of these young girls who get drifted off with the wrong stuff, with the wrong people being found in trunks of cars, it's because that mentality wasn't where it should have been, or it was beneath to allow somebody else who was above them to come in and infiltrate them. So if now you having a conversation with your daughter and she tell you, "Oh, this is my friend," the next step for you to say is define what friendship means to you, so that you can always be on the same page and know your child's thinking. That way you can be always be 3, 4 steps ahead of her, and also getting with the person that she's calling her friends. Let me see why she calling you her friend. What you got going on? Because I'm gonna tell you, as a parent, what I told my children, as long as I'm responsible for marrying you and burying you, I'm all up in your shit. Now you may
Mhm.
not always take my advice, you may not always like what I have to say, but I don't really give a damn. Because at the end of the day, if you come up missing, then people come to look at me. Then it's my feelings. I'm gonna be the one going through the book. I want to know what's going on. You can just, I'm a little tough because again, I raised my kids by myself and I did what I felt like I had to do to protect us all. But as a father, you don't want to be a friend, but you want to let her know that you're concerned, and it's always coming out of love. Why? Because you've been in those shoes before, and you also know what's out in them streets waiting for her. So in order to protect you and her, you got to get up in her. You got to know what she thinking. How does she think? How does she move? What do this mean to her? Because if you don't know, then that's a bad. That could be real dangerous, and that's just coming from somebody that's in law enforcement to deal with missing children. We
Right.
often see that these kids are led away because predators prey on children who don't have good backing and who mentality ain't on the level in which it should be. And so you gotta talk to your babies. You got to talk to them, no matter how uncomfortable it make you. She might be mad at you, but at the end of the day, it might save both of y'all.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a fact. I would definitely add that to my tool belt. That's a whole fact. You know what I mean?
Comfortable with talking to you got women friends that you confident in that know that you know what level of life they on. Bring that baby to them women and let them sit down and have a woman with her and show her some stuff and talk to her in a way that you may not be able to. Just like if it was my son, I trusted
Right.
you, my son, in the right direction. If I can't get to him because it was said earlier that a woman can't raise a man, I disagree with that to a certain point. But when it get to that point, I'm gonna bring my son to Buck because I know Buck know me. He know what I expect. He's been in the street. He knows what's out there. He's gonna give my son some valuable tools to help guide him when ain't nobody around to remind him. We all got to come together and save these babies because I hate to keep saying it, but being around people who no longer have their children, they didn't have that community. That child didn't have somebody that they felt comfortable with talking to, or the parent didn't let stuff out. Well, I believe my child might be doing this or into that. Could you please sit down and talk to her on your end? We got to do that for each other, because if something was to happen, your pain is gonna be mine, but because you my people. You know what I mean? And this is this is facts. If you go on Facebook every day, there's tons of missing children. Tons. Every day from everywhere.
Right.
So it's not can't be me and yours next.
That's true.
Right about that. Well, we are at the 2:20 mark. You want to keep going, Tro, or what you want to do, Tro?
It's up to you, my brother. It's up to you. It's up to you.
I mean, the females want to, keep on, building. I ain't got a problem with it. I mean, I want to over saturate it.
I'm gonna jump off because I got some homework to do. But let me.
All right, before you do that, Sav, please let them know who you are. Where can they find your platform? She does has her own platform, and break down your situation, man. So a lot of the people over here, that can switch, that light switch on and off. Let them know where they can find you at.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you to the host of the night. Thank you for welcoming me into your spot. A lot of people is really leery about that. They're afraid of the takeover, but that's not right here. I'm located in Charlotte. My podcast is called Touch Me Now. Talk about worldly everything. It is an open platform, just like the one we're on right now. I take live calls. I love having special guests. We can talk about anything, politics, sports, to life in general. I'm not just. I'm a student of life, so I'm always open to hear other people's opinions and views. Anything that can help my podcast grow. I'm and if anybody else out here have a platform that they're trying to build and get the wheels spinning, I'm down for everybody reaching. So I love y'all and thank y'all so much. And keep up the good work, guys. And my sister that was on here with me tonight, you guys are great. Each and every one to have your own platform. But if you want to reach out and get on Touch Me Now and help me build my brand, I would be so happy to welcome you.
Well, I like to say it was a pleasure, a breath of fresh air, meeting you. A pleasure. If you want to drop your link in a private chat or in the chat, I'll drop it in the chat for you if you want to put it in the private chat. But yeah, you're welcome here anytime, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and I can be reached on Facebook. I am Instagram as Sister Tabby. That's SSTAH Sister. Yes. So y'all keep up the good work. I will drop that link for you a little bit, and y'all have a blessed night and keep building. Keep building. I got something right here. I building. Keep
All right,
building.
Sav. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the pull up. Thanks for sharing your time.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
Good
you.
night.
It's nice talking to you.
You too, sis.
All right, y'all. So
That was dope. What you thought about that, Mac?
no, I really, I enjoy this. This is the kind of conversations I like to have. This ain't nothing wrong with laughing and joking, but I enjoy these kind of conversations more.
Real talk. I appreciate you as always, Macbeth. You already know.
And I'm still, what I talked to you about before. I'm coming up with my segments, so.
I'm
Yeah, just
surprised
keep
more
me
females
posted.
didn't pop out though.
Listen, this is not what I expected to happen. This was great. I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to get kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you, but this was real dope.
Yeah, this was
Real
nice.
dope.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all put this together. Like, it turned out okay. That's why I was watching first, because you know
I know. I
I
know.
I learned not to jump up right away.
Right. But this is not the first, man. You know what I mean? I'm definitely, you know what I mean? I want to, talk about it. You know what I mean? I definitely want to be about it. I definitely want to get a female's voice. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer, man. The only way that door will get cracked open is via female. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just talking in this little circle that we in right now. And I think, we got to start promoting that more. I'm a firm believer in that. Even though I get into my spills and hopefully, no female take no disrespect. You know what I mean? And give y'all a voice, man. I think y'all could y'all definitely could bring something to this sector that can at least even it out. You know what I mean? So
Well, we not. It's not like we at war. It's just that everybody, when people is talking, we can agree to disagree. We don't have to
Right.
get disrespectful just because we're not seeing something another person's way, or we don't agree with what the person's saying. It should never have to turn into disrespect. Like just like how we just had conversations. Everybody voiced their opinion. Nobody got offended. So it's called meeting of the minds.
Real talk. Real talk.
That's all it
This
is.
was a great build.
You just have to um find like-minded thinking individuals. It's
Hmm.
not hard to do. You just have to pay attention to the people. That goes back to the common denominator are you at the end of the day.
what,
Real
what
talk.
you think? What you think, Tro? It's safe to pull another one off.
Listen. Listen, this right here is dope. I'm always down for this right here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? We
me
could we
too.
could we could do it again. Do
And
it
the
again.
introduction for me was
Definitely.
dope because I didn't introduce no one, to the dark side of the sector. You know what I mean? They got introduced to this kind of, content, and that was dope for me
Right.
right there. That was surprising. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So this goes to show that you don't always have to be dark all the time. See,
Yeah,
sometimes
this was dope.
it's people that really want to sit down and have a conversation and get understanding and clarity about stuff. You see me, but I'm gonna always ask the other perspective of a question because it keeps the conversation going, and then it makes people think, oh yeah or no, because so it keeps the conversation going because I know everybody up here don't think the same way. We had kind of the same upbringing. We probably was all little latchkey kids, but you know, you got to be Gen X to understand that type of stuff.
Real talk. Bobby Ramos,
So
G
you have,
Mama.
and then what I liked about this conversation the most is that everyone up here knew how to remove their emotions from the topic.
Right.
That's what was great about this.
Nobody talked over nobody.
Right, because nobody was emotional.
Real talk.
You know, you can't let your
Adult conversation.
mentality proceed your emotions. You got to know how to be able to have an in general conversation. You're not pointing no fingers at nobody, you know.
And let's give kudos to the knuckleheads that know how to be knuckleheads. They ain't pop out. They respected, the the pretty much the topic of the show. Ain't nobody come up in the chat and talked about, yo, this guy, this and that. And it's I salute, to the supporters that left that over there. You know what I mean? And allowed us to have a great show. You know what I mean?
Nah,
And
real
it turned
talk.
out to be great. Yeah, we definitely got to salute to them.
Salute and
me.
salute to and look, salute to everybody because nobody really went live while we was on. I think it's one person who's live and all of that, man. But salute to all the content creators because people could have went live and hated
Right.
and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So salute to everybody, man. Even if they didn't pop out, they showed support in some type of way. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying?
I salute to that. That's a fact. I salute to that. That's definitely a fact.
Well, I just want to let you know, Bucks and KT already know. Anytime there's these kind of conversations, I'll pull up.
No doubt.
You know what
What
I'm saying?
that's a fact.
So
Well,
I'll
we
support you.
definitely would like, to have more of these. We can
Right.
sit,
See,
what I
I
mean,
can
with the
support you
Saturday
in
6
this,
o'clock.
but I can't support you in the Bozo Awards. I can't support you.
Hey, Meg Beck, yo, how they gonna nominate me though? They had me with
I'm
35
dead.
and 6,
You know why?
Tiaras, appreciate
Because
it.
you came up with the idea, right? And then you only had one category, but you didn't have why. Like, okay, different reasons, right? So you the one said, hey, because I'll nominate myself. And then the next thing you know, everybody made you nominate yourself. You did it to yourself. So you
Hey,
know
yo,
who should have
Trump.
known. Wait, Bucks, you know who should have really got the Bozo of the Week award?
Oh,
Oh
You,
no.
for opening
I'm
your
dead.
mouth. Trump my lips, 'cause I'll put myself on the ballot. I ain't scared. And this man,
yo, that joint backfired on me. I was like, oh, they really think I'm a bozo.
I'm done.
so
I said, yo,
that's why I couldn't support you in that, because I was like, he done put himself on the Bozo. I'm gonna tell you something. I almost hit the link. I ain't even gonna.
I'm done.
yo.
But I said, nah, I ain't gonna do it.
But that turned out great though. We're about to be on week 4. We get another week of it. You know what I mean? We just had some fun with it, and hopefully, just add on to it. That's
No,
just
no, it's cool. It's cool. It's just that I'm really not. I'll support this type of content from you, but that other stuff, I'm not gonna support that. I'm just being honest.
that's cool though. You know what I mean? That's cool. I really
I'll
do
give
that.
you your view, and then I'll hit you like.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Right.
everybody ain't gotta participate to say who's the bozo and who is not. You know what I mean? So, but I just do it, now to kind of like, try to make it a little, even where you ain't got to get too personal. And that's why I threw my name in, like, you know what I mean, to make a person feel comfortable, what I mean, we're opening up within themselves. Like, all right, you know what, at the end of the day, even though it backfired, I'll be a bozo. Like, if you want to pull up and say 050 bucks is a bozo, you can say that. There's no discrimination.
No. I'm telling you, what you did. I'm not saying. I'm just letting you know that the
Yeah, I
reason
know it
why.
backfired on me.
Right, it backfired on me. So that's why I'm saying that if anybody you should have gave it to, I ain't gonna front, because nobody wasn't even thinking about you.
Yeah, well, it was a poll put up. So the voters, they ain't vote for me. Shantae won again. Shantae won back to back.
Okay, man. Let's
Okay,
here
right.
Yeah,
Now,
we go.
now,
yeah.
now we're
Here we
gonna
go.
stay right here. See that?
Yeah,
Right.
we're gonna leave this right here.
You. And this is
There I go
nice.
being a bozo.
I'm dead.
And this was fun. And I guess to the next topic, I'm
But
going
I
in here.
definitely appreciate you, Mac. We definitely looking forward, to do a lot more of these shows. You know what I mean? I'm for it. You know what I mean? I don't mind. Yo, Troll, man, I definitely appreciate you, man. Good looking, man. I
I
called and you
thank
showed
y'all
up, popped out.
for
I
having me.
definitely
And
appreciate that.
good night.
You already know, man. Salute back. Appreciate you.
Salute on Mac,
Anytime, my brother. You already
Word, that's
know,
a
man.
fact, man. And it turned out I. So now, I'm like, I didn't, because don't, you know what I mean? Let me put it out there, man. This was a privilege for me, man. You know what I mean? So now, I'm hoping, this showed you like, yo, you know what I mean? I could come with some sense, you know what I'm saying? And be involved in putting in together a good show, you know what I mean, for a dope cause. So, I hope, I earned your kudos. You know what I mean? And again, man, I appreciate you. You know what I mean? And pretty
Yeah,
much everything you
listen,
hope
you
success.
already had that, man. Listen, you monetize, you got commercials. It's not easy to do that, so you have to have some type of sense. You feel what I'm saying?
That's the fact. But you got to get a bars to the ones who came before me, man. So I definitely just want to let you know that. You know what I mean? Appreciate, you know what I mean, for sharing. You dig? A lot of people, nowadays, man, you already know how the sect is, but I definitely just, like to let you know what I mean? I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
You already know, man. I appreciate you too, my brother.
Copy, yo. You already show keep winning. It's your boy 050 Bucks. Appreciate everybody for pulling up. Make sure y'all go like, share, subscribe. You know what I mean? To both parties. Troll got like 3 joint uncut. Holla at your boy, Mr. Outside. You know what I'm saying? They are still available. Make sure y'all go like, share, subscribe to all 3. Y'all already know, man. It's your boy 050 Bucks, aka Mr. Shoot Right Back, aka the Dark Side General. Appreciate everybody for pulling up. On your way out, hit that like button. Share the live out, people. Please share the live out. And if you haven't, go subscribe. Make sure you hit all on the notifications so you'll get all the notifications. And again, salute to my guy, King Show, man. It's BX will be next. And I'm out.
You already know. Salute. Salute to everybody who pulled up. Appreciate y'all. Salute to everybody who supported. Like I said, man, salute to everybody who ain't go live. You know what I'm saying? Salute to everybody who popped in the chat, said what up. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate all that, man. Because y'all already know, man, this sector is built on hate. And that's why King Troll love the ladies.